Welcome students in our today's online lecture. Today we will talk about a poem, or we can say a holy song, entitled Go and Catch a Falling Star, which was written by John Donne. So let's have a brief talk about our today's poet John Donne. He was born in 1572. He was a great English poet, satirist, lawyer and priest. Today he is seen as one of the greatest English poets of all time and is commemorated as a priest in the calendar of the Church of England and the calendar of saints of the Evangelical Church in America on March 31st every year. Donne was raised by a Roman Catholic family. So during the reign of Queen Elizabeth, the custom was like that. Queen Elizabeth often punished and harassed Catholics for their beliefs. Since Donne was a Catholic, he was banned from graduating. Nonetheless, he was educated at Oxford and Cambridge. When he was still a young man, he traveled across Europe, and Donne also continued to write religious works until his death on March 31st in 1631. Throughout his life, he became known as one of the most eloquent preachers and was made Dean of St. Paul's during the last 10 years of his life. Donne's poetry is a classic example of metaphysical poetry. His poetry exhibits all the characteristics features of this kind of poetry, like unusual verse forms, complex figures of speech, metaphorical conceits, learned themes discussed according to eccentric and unexpected chains of reasoning. In this poem also we find weird metaphors and cynicism, as Donne's this particular poem also is considered a piece of metaphysical poetry. So in today's poem, it's a metaphysical poem in which basically John Donne argues about certain about certain kind of philosophy he is propounding here, that he thinks it is poet's individual thinking, that he considers that it is impossible to find a woman who is both attractive and faithful to one man. So let's see what is he is saying in this poem. Let's start the text. Go and catch a falling star. Get with child a mandrake root. Tell me where all past years are, or who cleft the devil's foot. Teach me to hear mermaids singing, or to keep off envy stinging, and find what wind serves to advance an honest mind. So here the poet is talking about that it is always impossible to find an honest woman, a faithful woman who is very much honest to one man. And in this first stanza, Donne here states about a number of impossible tasks, like catching a falling star. So he actually compares so many things. He is giving a kind of series here, a series of impossible tasks. So a number of impossible tasks about which Donne is saying that he compares finding an honest woman to these tasks. And what kind of task he is talking about? So here we find that the poet is very much clever. he cleverly states that to find a woman who is honest in love is as difficult as it is to catch a falling star. So he is mentioning some difficult, impossible task, and simultaneously he is also substantiating his arguments that to find a woman who is honest in love is as much difficult as to catch a falling star. And in these impossible tasks he also includes that it is as much difficult as to conceive a child with a mandrake root plant. So it is also impossible to get a woman like an honest woman in her love affairs. It is quite as difficult as gaining full knowledge of the past. Teach me to hear mermaid singing or to captive of envy stinging, and find what wind serves to advance an honest mind. And he is also saying that tell me where all past years are. It is as much difficult as to have full knowledge of the past time, and it is also very much difficult as if who cleft the devil's foot, as if to solving the mystery of the devil's cloven hoof. And it is also difficult that it is also as much difficult as to as learning the knack of hearing mermaids singing. So here we find that the poet is very much sarcastic, and in a sarcastic manner Donne here comments that finding an honest woman is as difficult as living without the pain of envy. To keep off envy stinging, it is as difficult as living without the pain of envy. And find what wind serves to advance an honest mind. So envy is the greed and lust of other people who would secretly long for his woman. He adds sarcastically to the list of impossible tasks the task of finding the wind that brings prosperity to those who are of an honest mind. Now, moving ahead in the next stanza, if thou best born to strange sights, things invisible to see, ride 10,000 days and nights till age snow white hairs on thee. Thou, when thou returnest, will tell me all strange wonders that befell thee, and swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. So here, strange sights means the weird sights, something awkward, weird sights. And in this second stanza, here we find that the poet talks about a kind of imaginary journey. He talks that if thou be best born to strange sights, things invisible to see. He says here, best born. So here the poet expresses his great distrust towards the fair sex. He believes that a beautiful woman can never be faithful beloved. The poet says that, and in order to present his arguments, he says that a man who is born with the power to see strange things and even invisible things, if thou be born to strange sights, things invisible to see, he says that a man who is born with the power to see strange sights and even invisible objects, and if he ride 10,000 days and nights till age snow white hairs on thee, and if he rides 10,000 days and nights and travels all over the world till his hair turn grey. He will see wonderful sights. So, actually, practically, it is not possible that if a person can rides 10,000 days and nights continuously, if a person can travels across the world till his hairs turn grey. So, it is not possible in actual life. But here, the poet in order to present, in order to give strength here, to his arguments, he is saying, Thou, when thou returns, will tell me all strange wonders that befell thee, and swear nowhere lives a woman true and fair. So, after then, what the poet says, after the completion of his journey, a man, a person who travels across the world all through 10,000 days and nights, after the completion of his journey, he will return home and he will tell the stories of his great adventures and wonderful scenes he has seen during his travel, but he will not be able to give a single example of a beautiful and faithful woman he has seen or heard. So here the poet means to say that to meet a true and faithful lady is totally impossible. So he is actually propounding his particular philosophy. So the poet expresses his total distrust on this concept of honest and beautiful lady at the same time. If thou finds one, let me know. Such a pilgrimage were sweet, yet do not, I would not go, though at next door we might meet. Though she were true when you meet her, and last, till you write your letter, yet she will be false ere I come to two or three. Here, the poet talks about a kind of pilgrimage. Pilgrimage means a religious trip. Sphere, please, true, genuine. And in this third stanza, now the thought process of the poet has changed. It seems that the thought changes to the more positive idea of finding an honest woman. When such kind of traveler about whom the poet is talking about in the second stanza, so if that traveler after completion of his journey finds such kind of lady or woman, he should report all about this to the poet. Let me know. If you find one, let me know. The poet is suggesting that if the traveler finds such kind of woman, he is to report him immediately. Such a pilgrims were sweet, yet do not, I would not go. Then Donne says that such a journey would be like a sweet pilgrimage, like a religious trip for him, and it would be so sweet. But then John Donne changes his mind and he says that yet do not, I would not go. He wouldn't travel, he wouldn't accept this thing, or he wouldn't travel next door to meet her. Though next door we might meet. So the poet says that he wouldn't travel next door to meet her, as by the time, though she were true when you met her, and last till you write your letter, yet she will be false ere I come to two or three. What poet thinks here that he changes his mind and he says that he wouldn't travel to visit such kind of lady even if she lives next door to him. He wouldn't travel to meet her. Why? Because by the time he arrives even that far, she will have proved disloyal to or three other men. He says a woman would only remain honest at most for as long as it takes to write the letter saying you have found her. So here the theme of this poem we can find here is about of women's inconstancy. The poet says that to come across a fair and constant woman is more impossible than the greatest known impossibilities. So, in the concluding stanza, we can find that the poet also talk about that if perchance one comes across a woman true and fair, she will soon become false and faithless. She will prove to be disloyal to her lover, and so to see a true woman would be a kind of such wonderful things, or one would undertake a kind of pilgrimage. It would just like one would undertake a pilgrimage, but it would be useless, since by the time the pilgrimage he reaches the destination, the virtuous woman would have turned false. So here we find that this poem "Go and Catch a Falling Star" is basically a kind of love poem, and actually in this poem it is also right that in this poem there is not so much parade of learning as love expressed in far-fetched imagery. So we find here that Donne is noted for his extra images and subtle wit and sarcastic language, and he expresses his great distrust of womankind through a series of exaggerations. So this poem is full of a lot remarks of exaggerations, or full of exaggerations. He suggests that it is not more possible to find a faithful woman than it is to catch a falling star or to perform the greatest of known impossible things. Likewise, so this is a this is the whole of this poem. Let's meet in our next session. Thank you.